Hello everyone. In the last video, I showed you the difference between one and two-tailed statistical test, and also I discussed with you the different types of t-test and how to perform one sample and paired t-test in R. In this video, we'll talk about the two types of unpaired tests and how to perform them in R. So, unpaired t-test, also known as independent t-test, has two types: student's t-test and Welsh's t-test. So let's start with the student's t-test. It's a t-test that compares the mean of two independent samples, and it assumes samples have equal variance, homoscedasticity, and the sample size is equal. On the other hand, Welsh's t-test, it also compares the mean of two independent samples, but it does not assume that your sample have equal variance or the sample size is equal. So if you want to know if your sample has a homoscedasticity or heteroscedasticity, you can use the scatter plot and scatter your samples. If they form a linear line, it means that your samples has a homoscedasticity and the sample variance is equal. But if they form like a cone shape, it means heteroscedasticity and you need to use Welsh's t-test. So as a tip, I advise you always use Welsh t-test as a default instead of student t-test. So you don't need to deal with the finding out if your samples have equal variance or not, or the sample size is equal or not. So let's go to how to perform students and Welsh t-test in R. As I mentioned in the previous video, to perform any t-test in R, we need to use the t-test function. And depending on the test we want to perform, we will write different argument inside the t-test function. So for the student t-test, we will use the var.equal argument. So if it's true, it will perform student t-test, and if it's false, it will perform Welsh's t-test. But we don't need to mention it if we are performing Welsh's t-test because it's the default. So if you don't write the argument var.equal, it means that you are performing Welsh's t-test. So if you perform a t-test in R without writing any argument, it will perform a two-tailed Welsh's t-test because it's the default in R. So the default is var.equal false and alternative equal two-sided. So if you wanna change it, and I advise you not to change it unless if you know what you are doing, you can use the argument alternative equal grade or alternative equal less for one tail t-test. So it's either in the direction of increase or decrease, or use students t-test by applying the argument var.equal to true. So now let's go to RStudio and perform students and Welsh's t-tests. So for this exercise, we need to download a dataset from Github to perform t-tests. So first of all, we need to use the download.file function. And for that function, we need to specify the URL and the destination file. So here I specify the URL and here I specify the destination file. So now I'm running the command. Now it's downloading and it's ready. Second, we will read the CSV file by using the read.csv function, and also I'm gonna view the table by using the view function. So here we have a table. We have the mortality rate between male and female, and the cause is different diseases. So we have heart disease, cancer, and other diseases. So to be able to perform t-test, we need first of all to extract our data. So we are using the which function, and we are asking R to go to the cause column and select heart disease, and go to the sex column and select male. So this is A. So let's run this command, and here we are extracting that data. Here we are selecting, and here we are extracting. Similarly with the female, we are doing the same thing. So if we want to just have an idea about if our sample have equal variance or not, we can run a scatter plot, and you can see here we have kind of a linear line, which means that our sample may have equal variance. There is a specific way to calculate this, but I advise you immediately to jump and do Welsh test instead of dealing with finding out if your sample variance is equal or not. If you want to perform a student test, you need to use the var.equal argument. We will specify equal true. So let's perform that. And here we can see that there's a significant difference. The p-value is way less than 0.05. And also we can see the mean of the female and male. There's a huge difference. So that's where the significant came from. So if you want to perform Welsh's t-test, we can use just t.test and we can put x and y. Also, you can use var.equal false, but there is no need because it's the default. And also the default here is the two-tail test. So we can perform, and you can see there's not much difference between student t-test and Welsh's t-test. So in summary, if you have one sample and you want to compare it to a known mean, you use one sample t-test. If you have two dependent sample, you use the pair t-test. And in R, you use the argument pair equal true. And if you have two independent sample, you will not use any argument because it will perform Welsh's t-test and it's the safest one. So next video, we will discuss Shire square test. Thank you for watching.